Thursday, so I wanted to make sure that I went live today and we talked about a song, because I've been trying to do that every Thursday. So yes, I am live, and it is Thursday. I woke up this morning, I thought it was Friday, but my daughter reminded me that it is in fact Thursday, so here I am. So anyway, what we're going to be doing today is talking about a song called Nutshell by Alice in Chains. Now this song, I've always loved this song, but I love playing it. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about because it's some open chords. Again, I try and make a variety of lessons where we're learning soloing and doing different kinds of things like that. Hey, how you doing? So glad you're here. So remember, if you're on Facebook, in the description, there's a link that you can click so I can actually see your name. And you don't have to do that, but if you don't want to do that, then what you need to do is, if you're on Facebook, make sure that you include your name when you comment so I can see you. Because unfortunately on my side, all I'm seeing is Facebook user. So you can click the link in the description. That'll allow Facebook to use your name, or just add your name when you comment and I can say hello directly to you. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So with this song, I do believe, let me double check, because I can't remember if they tuned down a half step for this or not. So let me just play a teeny tiny bit so I don't get in trouble. Yes. Now let me actually play that for you again. Okay, so that's what the beginning of the song sounds like if you've never heard that song before. Okay, hey everybody, thank you for being here. So what we're going to be doing with this song is we're going to be looking at E minor. Now I'm tuned standard. You would tune half step down if you wanted to play along with this. So I'm going to play E minor, G, D, and then C. But there's a real unique way of playing this. So let me switch this camera angle here. There you go. So you can see this a little better. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be playing E minor. If you think of a G chord as being a 4-finger G like this, okay? So I've got 2 fingers on the bottom like this, and then the top of the G like that. That's what I'm going to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these fingers here. I'm going to play E minor with those 2 fingers there. Okay, so it's an E minor chord, and then here we have D, and then here we have G. So this is already part of the chord, but when we add this note in, it's an E minor with a D added. So it's like an E minor 7. Oh, hey, Yadi. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yadi said, you taught me how to use 3-note per string scales back in 2016. That's awesome, buddy. So we've got E minor, then we're going to head up to G, and then we're going to move over to D, and when I move to that D, I could take that pinky off or leave it. Okay, I usually take it off. I think it sounds a little more appropriate, so I'm going E minor to G to D, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop to the C add 9, which is this C you might have played before, which is like a G, but you drop these 2 down. So these 2 fingers are still there, and then it's the top of a C chord. So I'm going... Now we'll get to a little bit more into this as well. Hey, bud. So if you think about it, I'm going E, G, D, C. And it really is that quick. Hey, Robert, so glad you're here, bud. So E minor, G, D, C. Okay, now let me scan back out here so you can see my whole guitar. Here we go. So we have E, G, D, C. So that's the first thing you want to get used to, is being able to play your E minor with these 2 fingers. G, D, I'm taking the pinky off there, and then back to that C add 9. So I'm going... And then what I'm doing is, over the top of that, my strum is just this. So I'm going bum, ba-dum, bum, down, down, up, down, down. Now again, you might need to adjust that a little bit. Strumming is always weird from one person to the next, but the big thing for me is I'm never stopping strumming. I just keep moving my arm. I'm not always hitting the strings, but my arm keeps moving. So as I play, you see that? Now what happens a lot is when you're doing that, of course, you're moving from one chord to the next, and you continue strumming. So you might actually be strumming when your fingers are in the air as you're moving. The beauty of this is the bottom 4 strings stay consistent the entire time. That's kind of where that sound comes from. So as I go, This is the one I was going to play on Sunday in the Nashville meetup. Well, this would have been a great one. Obviously playing and singing it, so and maybe you could have done that. Maybe you could have played and sing it at the same time. I certainly cannot do that, but anyway, yeah, it's a wonderful song, isn't it? So we're going. And the strum isn't anything exact. It's not like you have to hit certain ones. It's more the vibe of the whole thing. Okay, so that's the beginning of it. Then you're going to stay on this C add 9, but you're going to hear something happen on that C add 9 that's really cool. And what happens is this first finger comes off the guitar and goes back down. Now again, I'm never concerned about you playing this exact or anything like that, but what I would do is get comfortable with what I'm saying and then go back and listen to the song and see if you can figure out how to kind of replicate it in a way that feels good to you. Live right now, yep, we sure are. So we're going E, G, D, C. Now watch this. So it's going da-dum, da-dum. So it's two different tempos. You have da-da and then da-dum. So let me play it for you. Let me move the camera back up here so you can see this. It's hard to do this at the same time while holding my pick, but there you go. So here we go. Watch this hand. See that? So that second one, for me, is happening on an up strum. Okay, it might be different for you, but that's how it's working for me. There we go. So we have. And then what we're going to do is go. So we have da-da-da-da-da-dum. And what's happening there is I'm playing that C add 9, and then I'm going to take these off and go to E minor. So I'm going. See that? Now I'm back on my E minor again. Then we start all over. So you stay on that E minor just a little bit longer, and then you head back in again, okay? Now, for those of you that really want to get specific with this, there is another part. So if I start playing this, watch what happens, because I got to play it kind of in sequence so it makes sense in my brain here. So I'm going. So here's the beginning. Come out of that. Start all over. Same thing. Okay, now we go. Watch this. So what happens on that one is the bottom comes off. So what I do is I take both fingers off. So it changes a little bit different there. Watch this. So it's a really cool, almost kind of Smashing Pumpkins sort of sound when you take those fingers off. And what I love about all of this is, especially with bands like Alice in Chains, a lot of other bands obviously, is that you can really see how you can get creative with chords. Instead of always thinking of chords as kind of traditional cowboy chords, you know, with the way we play them, which there's nothing wrong with, but we see these really neat ways that we can play these and get different kinds of sounds. Is there something wrong to not let the whole arm swing the whole time? Well, I am letting the whole arm swing the whole time, but you don't have to do that, right? I mean, that's how I play is my arm is my drummer. That's what keeps me in time. That's what keeps me feeling everything as I play. You know, versus, I can't even really replicate it, but something like that, it doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't mean there aren't songs where I'll think about, where they're more based off downstrumming or something like that. Of course that happens. But with a song like this, it feels more correct for me to move my arm like that when I play. But that doesn't mean that that's going to work for everybody. Again, you always got to try and find what works the best for you. Okay, so those are the two main parts to think about. There's the, hey, Slick. Then it starts all over. And then there's the third one, which I think is the fourth one too. And again, it changes. So it's not like, when they're playing this, Jerry Cantrell is locked into a systematic pattern that he plays all the way through. These are just, you're going to hear them when you listen to the song, but if you listen to the live song, where he does what might change a little bit. The chords aren't changing. The chords are still the same. So as I go, here's the second idea now. Here we go. Then I'm back again, you see? So it's really neat and it's worth looking at. And again, you don't have to play it exact. If that's a little bit too hard for you, you can leave out some of those embellishments. But if you are there in your journey, this is a great song to learn how to play and do some stuff like that. All right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And hopefully that helps you and gives you something to work on for the week. All right? So take care.